Welcome to the UTPA Men's Basketball Show. My name's Jonah Goldberg, and I'm joined by the man of the half hour, as it were, the one and only Dan Hipsher, the head coach of the UTPA Bronx men's basketball team. And Coach, you've already had your first exhibition game. You've been here for a few months, so let's start with you a little bit. We're going to talk about the team plenty throughout this half hour and throughout the weeks, but I want everybody to get a chance to know who is talking to them, and I don't know if they care about me too much. I'm Jonah. This guy, Dan, over here, he comes with a ton of experience in college coaching as a head coach at 3 different spots, including Stetson and Akron, Stetson, in Akron. And he comes most recently after being an assistant and associate head coach at big-time programs like South Florida and Arkansas and Alabama. Made 1 million postseason appearances. That's an estimate.
Yeah, it's a little bit under that, but that's close.
And now he's here to help turn Bronx basketball into a national power, right, Coach? No pressure.
No problem at all. We should have it done by next week, I would think. Hopefully, if we can get the painting done, we'll get done.
So you're telling me they're moving up the NCAA tournament to allow for you to play in it in the first week of the year? That's fantastic.
Well, we're just turning the program around that fast. We're going to have to wait on the tournament to start.
Oh, okay. Darn. Well, for the first time in 15 years, the Bronx have access to that automatic bid into NCAA level championship events in their first year in the Western Athletic Conference. Coach Hipsher hired in early April to lead the Bronx into this new era in the WAC. And when you were into the hiring process, what attracted you to UTPA?
Well, I saw opportunity, a great climate, a great university that's evolving, moving into the WAC as an athletic department, having a chance to play for automatic bids, and in a basketball-rich, historically strong conference like the WAC. I just saw an opportunity for a place to pop. And when I went to Akron, nobody thought we could win, and we got that turned around in 2 or 3 years, and they've been doing well ever since. So, you don't always get it where it's ready-made for you, but if the opportunities and the expectations meet the things that are offered and you can build the program with, I think it's exciting, and this place is exciting.
What's it like taking over a program and being the new coach in town? Like, what kind of things do you have to do to get going?
Well, first of all, you jump in, Jonah, and you take care of the kids. You let them know that, hey, I'm your new coach. I'm here for you. I want to see you guys do well. You're not going to hear, my guys, your guys, or old guys, or whatever. So you let them know you care about them, and you get to work with them in the individual instruction things they need, stay on top of their academics, and let them know that they've got somebody here to take care of them. So you kind of get into that, then you get involved in the recruiting process as fast as you can, try to add some personnel to your program and some stock. And we were able to do that with very limited scholarships, but we added numbers and, kind of hoping that somewhere through addition by, numbers that we evolve into some guys who can really contribute into the program. Then get involved in this year's recruiting, and then finally try to get involved in the community and the university as much as possible. But the big thing is to set up the program first.
And setting up the program, you brought in a lot of fresh faces. Of course, for you, they're all fresh faces because you weren't here last year. But newcomers, and it wasn't all just let me go. It was a little late in the process to try and see if you can get any freshmen, and you did end up getting a couple. And sometimes at this point you might go for some junior college transfers, which I think would be the two. If somebody had asked me going in, well, how's he going to fill out the program? I'm like, okay, well, those are the 2 ways I would have thought of. But what I hadn't thought of, and what you did, you went out and got a couple of fifth-year transfers as well in Farrel and Sean Noriega.
Well, with the rules as they are now, if a young man graduates and has a year of eligibility left, he can work on his master's and play anywhere he wants in the country. So we had access and ties to a couple kids. Farrel, who was in UMass and had played extensively throughout his career, and got injured and had a fifth year left and wanted to try something different. And we were extremely fortunate to get him. And then Sean Noriega was a key to their NCAA and NIT runs the last couple of years at South Florida. I recruited him there. Andy coached him there. He had a stress fracture, sat out a year, and then, again, wanted to try something a little different, get involved in the motion. But, Sean was the kind of kid that 2 years ago he's in Madison Square Garden making 6 threes against Villanova. So, he can really, really shoot it. But, and the big but there is Sean broke his foot in the dorm about a month ago, and now we're just waiting to see if we can get him back and get him going. But great shooter and 2 great veteran additions that I thought would give us a Band-Aid, to recruit the program and balance it out and evolve the way we need it to.
And Javon starting immediately, he actually started at the point guard position in the exhibition game.
Yeah, he's a big point, but he knows how to play. He understands it. He's tough with the basketball, and he's been there before. He'll float from anywhere from the 1, the 2, the 3, and he can guard any of those spots. And so we'll have a lot of different lineups out there this year, I think, Jonah.
Well, I mean, in that exhibition against Kingsville, you used all 14 of your players, so I think we saw about 16 different lineups out there. Yeah,
there were plenty of them out there, and there was opportunity for it, and there was also the foul trouble made us play a bunch of people. But we were going to try to play everybody, and as I told the kids the other day, I'm sure some of you were extremely happy. You got more time than you thought you'd get, and others, thought you would get more time than they got, but you're going to earn what you get.
So in that game, a 74-56 victory over Kingsville, your first time finally getting to see people in other jerseys. Nice to just see a different team out on the court than yourself against yourself.
Well, exactly. And the other thing is to see how we can combine lineups that entail a little more size than we can compete against in practice. Because once I divide Latte and Josh Cleveland up, and Leathers and Heinz, then it gets pretty small after that. Well, having the whole team together, you could throw combinations of guys out there, Leathers, Heinz, Cleveland, Latte, 3 of the 4 at one time. So we got to see ourselves with a little more height balance, which is always good for us.
Yeah, I mean, you start a pretty big lineup with Shaquille Heinz sliding over the 3, so, in effect, a 3-forward set. And then, if you talk about Farrel as a guy who can play at the 3, and he's starting at the 1, it was one of the taller lineups that you could come out with.
Yeah, we were, 6'6", 6'6", 6'7", 6'4", and then Hurley Johnson, who is only about 6'1", but phenomenally athletic. So we were pretty big and physical when we started the game the other night. And again, dictated by matchups and teams we're playing, we're going to have to play that way some.
Heinz kind of caught me off guard when he started this game. He launches a 3. And I think the first one he shot, he missed. And, I quickly looked at the stats to see, well, what did he do from 3 last year? So, okay, he was 4 for 10. So, okay, it doesn't happen very often. And then he pulls up twice more and he hits them both. And all of a sudden I start to realize, is he going to be potentially another outside threat for you?
Yeah, he is. He can make shots. And he's the kind of guy with his skill set that inside, outside scoring should be a great advantage depending on who's guarding him and what the matchups are. So he's got the ability to do both and drive it to the rim and hopefully score at the basket too. So that's what you need out of a swing forward, and that's what we hope we can do.
Yeah, as a freshman, Heinz never scored more than 10 points in a game, and here we are. I know it doesn't count for the official stats, but 18 points, that's a pretty good start for the sophomore.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's counting it. He's averaging 18 a game right now, and I'm throwing it in the win column. If I can get my exhibitions win, I might be over 300 already. But anyways, again, it was a game night. He played well, and now you build on that.
A few players played well as well. Farrel, he goes out there with 11 points, and I look at around the later in the second half, as your team was starting to pull away, he also showed off his athleticism a little with a windmill dunk and a 360, I think. Yeah,
he had a reverse 360 and a windmill, and he can get out and get running. He's a very good transition player. He's got good size to finish. The other thing he did a nice job of, Jonah, was he was the one guy in transition that pushed it to the rim a couple times and got fouled in transition, which is a big thing. We got to the free throw line the other night and actually made more than our opponents attempted. That's a goal of ours every night, to try to be aggressive to the rim, try to get fouled, try to get to the free throw line.
One of those times you mentioned in transition was actually right at the beginning of the game. He ends up going to the line for two. Now, hits the first, misses the second, but Justin Leathers right there for the rebound, and he puts it in, turns into an effective three-point play.
Did a nice job working hard on the offensive board. You know Justin, he's a blue-collar working man's friend, and he's out there grinding all the time, and did a great job getting that put back for, like you say, a 3-0 lead.
And Leathers, I mean, he's one of your returning guys, and you actually started 4 returners. Again, all new for you, but 4 returners in your starting lineup, and it's good to get that experience out there.
Well, I mean, to me, there's a pattern you go through with a team, unless a veteran is just not playing well at all. But I'm going to try to play those veterans and let them do what they can do, and then let the younger kids come along a little slowly if I can. But the depth and the talent right now dictate that the veteran kids probably deserve their chance first, and see where they take it. But we've got to have some of those guys play a lot better than they played.
One of the freshmen who really impressed me was Alex Majewski.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out there and he looked good on both ends, and another big man who can step out as well. What do you think of him?
Alex gave us some great energy when we were struggling. If I remember right, he was in that little run when we were maybe a point down, and then took a big 25-7 run. And Alex hit a couple shots, grabbed a couple rebounds. He actually, the best thing he does is shoot the 3 ball at the perimeter, and he was only 1 for 4, I think, but or maybe 1 for 3. But and then he went to the line and missed a couple too. But he knows how to play. He's got a good feel for it, and once he learns to get his motor going a little faster, he's really going to be a nice player.
He was among the players that came out when you made your first 5 for 5 line change, and running the point after that substitution was Blake Provost, who the brother of Brandon Provost, who redshirted his freshman season last year, coming in this year. What kind of role do you see for Blake?
Blake is the best on-ball defender we have. He can pressure the ball up the floor. He's an active kid, a tough kid. He's a yes sir, no sir, hard-working guy, and he's going to play minutes because he knows how to be a good teammate and do the things that impact winning. And I think he'll do a good job for us this year.
And it really kind of shows the depth you have at that one position, where you could start Farrel, you bring in Provost, and then of course you have Shaquille Boga, a guy who. He could be a point guard. He played at UW Milwaukee, and
right.
Was at JUCO last year, where he put up some gaudy numbers, and now here for you this year.
Yeah, he probably thought he was going to start the other night because his numbers would have dictated that. He had played well, but I just felt like the last few days of practice he'd gotten a little lethargic and maybe a little satisfied, so I wanted to send him a message. He came out early in the game, didn't play very well. Went back to the bench again, which is going to be a pattern people will see. If they don't play well, they come out. And then, he got the message. And he had a really nice late second half. Again, in that run you're talking about, he was an integral part of it, and then had really a nice second half. So I was happy with the way Shaq ended up playing the half.
Yeah, it's funny with Boga as a guy who can come in and be the point guard, and he came out once quickly. I think Josh Cleveland at one point came out once quickly, and you had a few of those. Just a good chance. What was it? Sending messages? Was it trying to get more people in and out? Was it matchups?
Well, a little bit of both, but typically if it's real quick, it's sending a message or giving a message. And a couple of those other ones, Jonah, were related to foul trouble. I got upset with Cleveland. He had 3 so fast. I said, all right, just go ahead and foul out. Then he got his 4th, and I had to take him out. But and then Latte came in and had 4 faster than anybody I'd ever seen. So we ended up playing a smaller lineup and having to play some zone. But there's a lot of things that dictate substitution. But what you won't see very often is when that scoreboard is kind of heading in our favor, you won't see a whole lot of subbing going on.
You talk about Latte Toivonen, and while it wasn't his best game, he comes off of a summer in which he competed with the Finnish national team. So less time with the team because he wasn't here for the summer practices, but he got to go out and play at the World University Games over in Russia. And how much do you think that has helped him, that kind of experience?
I would think it would help a lot, because regardless of what you do with individual workouts, it's great to get better at your skill. But Latte got that within the team structure. But the greatest thing any competitor can do is compete against other people and be involved in a 5-on-5 game and playing to win. And it was a great opportunity for him. He was in their top 8-9 rotation and got good minutes and did a good job for him. And we look for great things from Latte. I've told him once Latte figures out how good Latte is, he's going to really be a nice player. The guy that limits Latte is Latte. And he's not aggressive sometimes to score in the way he can, but he does all the intangibles, and he has the ability to score once he lets himself loose.
One guy who came out, who I found, I saw him a little at Bronx Madness, and I see him in this exhibition, who I really thought was really athletic, Maurice McDonald, one of the freshmen on the team. What have you thought of him?
Mo is just a young colt. He was a football player coming through high school and got into basketball and went over to IMG Academy and grew up here locally, but great kid, great athlete, but just like a young colt finding his legs, kind of figuring out what it's all about. But yeah, he's athletically explosive. But many times when you don't have the feel for the game yet, it doesn't show up. Like he airbanked a layup that really his athleticism should have dictated he dunked the ball. But it's just all getting up to game speed.
Well, now that exhibition is out of the way, you're in the final couple days before you open the season and the games start to count. What do you do in these final few days of preparation?
Well, we had a really physical, hard workout yesterday, mostly on the defensive end, just for some things we saw on video after we watched tape. And we had a good day, and then I told them today would be a mental day. And we did a lot of situational play, up one, down one, minute left, what are we doing in games, what's going on, how are we playing, and did some side outs, baseline outs, situationally, full court, and put about an hour and a half of that and some film in, and then let them go. And now we'll come back the next couple days, clean up what we're doing, and prepare for Sam Houston. So we're getting their scout together, and it'll be a very formidable opener for us, but I think we're prepared to at least go out and play somebody.
Okay, so you haven't started to prepare for Sam Houston State yet, and I don't mean that as a negative. I always find it interesting, the first game of any season, where you have months, you know who the opponent is, and you, in theory, could be preparing for months. I don't know what you would do for months scouting one opponent, but how do you decide when you're going to start looking at that opponent and not paralyze yourself with too much analysis?
Well, the key is, don't get me wrong, when I say preparing for them, we have as coaches in terms of film, video, game planning. We just haven't put it on the kids yet. And to be honest, Jonah, if we had been a veteran team coming back in our system and knew what we were doing, we probably would have done a little more Sam Houston a little more earlier. Mm-hmm. But we've just got so many Band-Aids. We have 6 games in the first 9 days, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's a training camp for us. It's truly our exhibition season for the NBA. And we're going to try to develop our team and what we do. And yes, we're going to prepare and scout and give our kids every chance they have to win. But what we're going to emphasize is seeing, number one, what our kids can do, and number two, putting them in the best situation to then do it. So that's what these early games are all about.
And that first game will be a little different than the rest of your games, except maybe the Corpus tournament, where you'll effectively be playing since it's a doubleheader, the women play first. You don't necessarily know exactly what time you can get out on the court. You kind of have to wait, and then you run out there and you get your, whatever it is, 30 minutes and get ready to go. Is it tougher that way, or is it better because there's less time to think and you just have to go?
Well, it screws up your pregame clock a little bit. We might only have 20 minutes to warm up, or something instead of 30. We might be only able to come in a certain time, or, so we'll get in here, do our pregame talk with the kids, let them get out, warm up, do our final talk with the kids, and then head back out and play. But No, it's not that much tougher. What's tougher is when that ball gets thrown up and it's a formidable Division I opponent.
And you got a few of those early on, Sam Houston State Friday, and then on Monday, University of Houston Cougars coming to town for the first time since the 80s.
Yeah, that's a very formidable opponent. They played in a postseason tournament last year, and I know they beat Texas. I don't know if it was at Houston or at Texas, but they beat Texas. So they got a lot of kids back. Coach Dickey's a great coach, good man, and that'll be a war for us also, as will all of them. It's gotten to the point in college basketball where you better be ready each and every night, because each and every night you're going to get somebody that has a chance to beat you.
Yeah, I think we've seen that a lot lately with you go Robert Morris and Kentucky in the NIT.
No doubt.
I mean, you could go a lot further. I mean, Chaminade manages to knock off a D1 team every couple of years, and they're D2. So, I mean, on any given night, anybody can win, anybody can lose, and that's the great thing about basketball, why you play it on the court.
Last night, Oklahoma, Lon Kruger, to me, one of the best coaches in the country, barely got by Oklahoma Baptist, a Division II team up in Oklahoma. Alabama went overtime to beat West Georgia. TCU won their D2 by 4, Lamar by 1. So it really comes down, and maybe Wooden had it best, that sometimes we worry a lot about the other teams, but it really is about what you're doing that's going to make you successful.
Well, what you're doing is playing Sam Houston State Friday, 7 o'clock at the UTPA Fieldhouse, University of Houston, on Monday at, that's 7 o'clock also,
right,
at the UTPA Fieldhouse. Tickets and more information at utpabronx.com. Well, Coach, beyond all of this, you've also had the chance to get out in the community and live in the Rio Grande Valley for a few months. So how has it been living down here for the last couple months? I
just met the coach from the Vipers today, and we were talking, and he asked, well, what do you think? I said, I really, really enjoy it, and I'm not just selling UTPA or selling our program. These people are kind, generous, good people. You're out in the streets, they don't know you, you don't know them. Everybody's gracious. I've really, really enjoyed the people here and the opportunity to be here and look for, hopefully them relying on me to do anything I can do for them to make the place a better place, because it's good people.
And I've seen you found yourself a few little hole-in-the-wall restaurants to go eat at, too. I think you're even a more adventurous eater sometimes than I am.
Yeah, I get to almost all of it. There's not been a whole lot, as you can tell, thrown in front of me that I don't like. So I've been all over the community and pretty much all kind of styles of food, and it's a great place to eat for sure.
And a great place to enjoy some sunshine. Are you ever going to get used to every day being sunny?
Well, I lived in Florida, so I saw it there, but believe me, my Midwestern roots make it much more appreciative of seeing the sun all the time versus 30 days in the winter with gray skies. But great to have the sun out. Unfortunately, the nicest, coolest time of the year is the time we're in the gym all the time.
And of course, you have two sons you see every day, the son and then your son, Andy Hipsher, associate head coach. How special is it to be able to work with your son?
It's been fantastic, not only to have your son with you, but to have a coach like him. And, regardless of me being his father, he's an excellent coach. He's I think, has command of many different areas of basketball, and it's special in some areas. So he was trained by Bob Knight and Lon Kruger and Stanley, people like that. So he's been a great help to me.
Well, if you want to see the coaches Hipsher, their rest of the staff, their entire student-athlete population, and more, make sure you come on out to see UTPA men's basketball take on Sam Houston State on Friday. It's a single admission doubleheader as the women take on Schreiner at 5, men at 7, all here at the UTPA Fieldhouse. And then the Bronx take on Houston on Monday at 7. And tickets and more information, go to utpabronx.com. Hey, special offer for veterans on Monday. It's Veterans Day. So any current and future veterans, so active and retired military personnel, get in for free with your valid ID. So make sure you bring that by the box office on game day. He's Dan Hipsher, head coach of UTPA men's basketball. My name is Jonah Goldberg. We'll see you next week right here on 956sports.com.